Okay, so this is to help you understand a little bit of my background record. Um, Mainly this one incident with a con artist named Jacquelyn Dash. She was a lawn mowing, landscaping customer of mine. I had a kind of a handyman business. I built her a pool, a deck, in her backyard and did work around the yard and the house and stuff for her. So she spent a few months building up trust, borrowing money, paying it back, borrowing money, paying it back, paying me advance for supplies and things for the work that I was doing. Um, and then she sprung her con on me, which was that she was going to give me a free apartment on top of her print shop. She knew I was looking for an apartment. Um, so she said she had this little apartment on top of her print shop that I was going to be able to stay in, rent free or cheap rent. But she needed to borrow money to buy a big printing machine because she had been awarded a contract to do all the printing work for all the courts in Massachusetts. So I foolishly lent her about $3,000. She made a couple of repayments and then, just stopped paying, didn't leave town or anything. I took her to small claims court, and after the roll call, she went up to one of the court officers and said, "This guy's been terrorizing me for no apparent reason." So she's just, trying to get me to not be able to testify against her. Um, so they slapped handcuffs on me and put me in the holding cell down on a floor below the courtroom, and they had the court psychiatrist came and talked to me and says, "You seem to be very agitated." And I said, "You're damn right, I'm agitated. I'm the plaintiff, you know." So and I was sitting there behind bars and handcuffs, standing there. Um, so long story short, I was in jail for 5.5 months on the story that the con artist had made up. Um, Finally got before a judge, and they offered me 2 weeks. They said, we'll give you a 6 month sentence. You've been in there for 5.5 months, so you'll serve two more weeks, and you'll be out. And so I was. This was. I was not out. It was 5.5 months of serving the time, and then they brought me to the court. I wasn't released. I wasn't out on bail or anything like that. I was, doing the time, and so the alternative to accepting the 2 week offer was 4 or 5 different charges with 2 or 3 years possible on each charge. So I, again, foolishly I pleaded guilty to these things that I wasn't guilty of, um, and went to serve the 2 weeks. So eventually they checked out my side of the story. They apologized to me and they pressed charges against the con artist. But meanwhile, those things are on my record, and I need to get it expunged. I'm very certain that they will seal my record if I write to them. And then the other thing is I was a pizza delivery driver, and then I had a suspended license at times. I couldn't afford to not work, so I kept driving, delivering the pizza with a suspended license. So if I did get pulled over, it was whatever I got pulled over for plus driving on a suspended license. So one incident would be 2 tickets. And this very, quickly snowballed. It was like a house of cards, and, it all came crashing down with eventually I had to stop because the tickets were just too much. I couldn't. I was actually a better than statistically 2 or 3 times better than average driver, but I'm spending 10 times as much time on the road, so I'm still getting more tickets. Um, Even though I was a far better than average driver, I was still, because of the sheer number of hours I spent on the road, I would get caught in these, kind of what I call traffic traps, where they take advantage of these vague or confusing situations, and they know they can kind of catch even a law-abiding drivers are going to be end up doing something illegal that they can write a ticket for. So those are all over Boston. Not trying to make excuses, but I'm just explaining that I was not a bad driver. I was actually better than average driver, 2 to 3 times better than average, and still, I have this 4-page report. I am not a criminal by any stretch of the imagination. Mentality wise, I'm an extremely law-abiding citizen, um, good member of the community. But my record, if you don't kind of look at it under the right light with a kind of a fine-tooth comb, it can be very deceiving. And so I just wanted that to be taken into consideration.